Edition of the market update, the government default market update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. Will the government default? Who cares? Shocking, right? A bigger financial crisis has started. They just kicked it off with a little bit of midget wrestling and a clown show. This is going to be a crisis of confidence for the entire country and the banking system. What does it mean for crypto? We're going to tell you. I'm going to give you the roadmap. Plus, I'm going to fill you in on a new way we're analyzing news. So I'm going to give you the sort of the executive summary. And then if you want to check a Twitter video that I just posted, not now, watch this video. But if you want to see how we analyze the news here at Market Update Central, you can check that out. Okay. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. TA news and conversations you can't hear anywhere else. And of course, if the content works for you, please hit the like button. Okay, May 24th, crypto markets are down around 3%, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So let's welcome who's here. Okay, we have Richard Barry, hell yes, special market update. Welcome, Richard. Steve J, wrong again, Willimeter, East Tennessee. Jeff with the notorious love. Andre, Robin, right? I have saved for a doomsday event. Time to release the funds or better hold out for a bit longer. Okay, this is a good question and I'm going to answer it. And I've got a shocking little revelation about where Bitcoin could be at the end of August. Like, how bad will this be? What could happen to crypto? Here's a hint. The bottom, right? Oh my God. And then boom, right? And don't forget, if you're a gold bug, you're not going to want to miss this or that video that I just put on Twitter. I'm going to do the news and then you can check the Twitter video for how we did the news. Okay. Pancakes and peanut butter. Okay. Head for the shelter. Okay. I actually, for wrong again, I like the V bottom in July. I like this whole thing coming to a head then. Okay. So let's rock some news. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something radical. I'm going to switch directly into like Financial Times style news. Let me get this up. Okay. Now, earlier today, we heard Elon Musk tell people not to bet the fund, not to bet the farm on Dogecoin. Okay. Here it is. Elon warns investors not to bet the farm on Dogecoin. So I got to work with my sort of analyst cohort and we said, what's Elon trying to tell you? Here's what he's trying to tell you, right? We sort of did our little analytical rigor on this, and he's going to issue Twitter coin. He just told you he's going to issue Twitter coin or he's going to feature Bitcoin. I'm guessing it's Twitter coin based on what me and Toby came up with. He's going to want to set up payment infrastructure, something totally new. So he also may use Twitter coin or a Twitter security token as a way to raise money for Twitter. Okay. In other words, if he's telling you don't bet on Doge, he's telling you he's doing Twitter coin. And if he was smart, he would wait for the legacy world to burn and then boom, happy July 4th. He comes out with that announcement over a holiday weekend that they're raising money. Twitter coin's going to be a payment platform. And if there's anything out there, right, that could ignite crypto, once crypto goes through the waves and the BS, right, and the sort of liquidity drain that's going on in our bond market, which I'll explain, Twitter coin is coming. Now, the gold boom, how long can it last? Zero Hedge published an article today stating that, Poland is one of many central banks buying gold. So the second oldest story in the world behind the dollar is doomed is you have to own gold. Now, we know this. We get it. The dollar is rising at the moment because people are afraid they may not be able to borrow the dollar or borrow dollars because the government may have to. More on that in a minute. But gold, according to our analytical methods, could get really hot. Okay, which is a little bit counterintuitive. Like Bitcoin and crypto are speculative. They're a little soft. The dollar's got some strength to it, right? Interest rates are going higher. Not exactly a perfect environment for gold unless you take a more intuitive approach. Gold could get really hot. Really hot. Okay, and it could get really hot really fast. So yes, the media is saying, how long can it last? Interesting that it's like a question, like, is gold going to stop? Okay, my answer to that is hell no. Now, again, check out my Twitter to see how we came up with that. Now, UK bonds sell off as inflation in April falls less than expected. Let me give you the quick and dirty on this. They got a problem over there in England, right? They got 13% inflation and 4% interest rates. What are they going to do? Okay. Well, I mean, the first thought was, I don't know, they're going to be as generous or as giving as possible. Okay. And then we're like, well, let's get some clarification on that. I mean, are they going to be tough on inflation or are they going to print money to save the system? And as it turns out, as you might suspect, I got sort of like an independent reading that they're going to do something new, that the 2008 QE playbook is not going to work, right? They're not going to turn around and start printing. The UK example is a classic. How can they? Inflation's at 13%, rates are at 4%. What are they going to do? Well, it's very simple. They're going to nationalize the banking system. They're going to nationalize it. I mean, UBS went to the Swiss government after they absorbed Credit Suisse, and they wanted the Swiss government to guarantee them against losses for buying Credit Suisse. And I'm sure the Swiss central bank would be like, well, sure, no problem, dude. But we own you now, right? I mean, the government's just not going to backstop everyone for free. You've heard the saying, never let a good crisis go to waste. Governments are going to nationalize the regional banking system. Now, you might be like, well, gee, Bill, why are you talking about, regional banking systems? Why is that on your mind? I thought we were talking about a government default. Well, yeah, we're talking about both. We're talking about both. So let's just pull one chart up here, right? Go to PowerPoint quick, and then I can come back to the news. Okay, remember, the FOMC minutes are out today. So the Fed has done its long-awaited pivot. Powell stopped tightening, and no one's talking about it. Everyone's like, oh my God, this Powell press conference. It's the biggest press conference of his life. Okay. They say that every month. When is he going to pivot? He's like, I'm not. Then all of a sudden one day, as the debt ceiling follies continue, they're like, yeah, we're going to take a break. Yeah. No shit, dude. You're going to take a long break. Okay. Nobody's hiking rates, and there's going to be a hint of this in the FOMC meeting, because what they're going to admit at some point, either by their pause or someone's actually going to say it, and they're going to go, this whole system is going to blow up. We cannot blow up the system. Now, it may be more eloquently phrased because, unless they make me a Fed governor, I can't imagine some guy walking into a Fed meeting and going, hey, guys, we better cut it out because this is going to get nuked. No. They're not going to talk like that, right? But they have talked like that. They did it in 2007 when Greenspan cut rates out of nowhere in 2007. Okay. The Fed pause that everybody, everyone was looking for, they very unceremoniously got. Now, that's because this thing with the debt ceiling and the default is not the crisis itself. It's the start of a larger crisis. Now, let's talk about that. A start of a larger crisis. Credit default swaps, okay? It's insurance against a default. So if you own somebody's bonds and you want insurance, you go out and you get yourself a credit default swap. This is US Bancorp, the world's 5th largest bank, courtesy of my friend Andy. As you can see, credit default swaps are exploding. So US Bank Corp probably next, and probably a lot of other banks behind that. So sell in May and go away. Yeah. Sell stocks, sell bank shares, you know, an ugly, ugly timing period for equities, right? As demonstrated by the fact that they did this big short squeeze and then dropped the market. Bank stocks are in trouble. Now, here's another reason why bank stocks and banks and the whole system is in trouble. If the US government defaults, you don't need to watch a YouTube video to know that that's a disaster, because the entire finance world is based on the fact that the US Treasury bond is a risk-free security. So if there's risk in a risk-free security, obviously, you know, you don't need an MBA to know that's a problem. Now, if they embarrass themselves, and then as soon as they get done embarrassing themselves, they have to go out and borrow $1 trillion, which is roughly what they have to do. Where are they going to get that money from? They're going to suck a huge amount of money out of the financial system quickly, right? So the Treasury has not been borrowing, right? The debt ceiling, right? Can't issue any more debt. Can't issue any more bonds. So money has been, you know, free to chase equities, free to chase meme coins, free to chase crypto, right? But what happens when the government goes, oh, goody, now we can go back in and eat some sugar, right? And they take all the money out of the system. That's going to hurt stocks on top of sell in May and go away. I mean, in March, everyone thought it was the end of the world. And in equities, you made like a 10% return just by holding it for a couple of months. Equities fund managers like, oh my God, I'm done. Yours. See ya. I'm selling. Goodbye. Because these banks are going to fail. One after the other after the other. I mean, if the US Treasury sucks up all the money in the system, how's US Bank Corp going to get funding? Now, of course, there's also a social disorder element, which is positive crypto, but negative crypto perhaps in the short term. Okay. When they suck all the money out of the system, the black swan that we've been looking for, maybe something like social services, social security, or welfare payments don't get made. And there's controversy surrounding both Bud Light and Target headed into a month in June where these groups that, you know, are sort of at the center of this unfortunate controversy, right, are having their sort of celebration month. So can you imagine the poor, the disaffected, not getting their money? And then all of a sudden a social issue comes to the front right at a hot holiday weekend. Sounds like a huge mess to me. Sounds like a huge case for crypto. Okay. Question is when? I'm saying July 4th, and I can actually give you some math or some work rather that will show you it's worth the wait. Okay. This is stocks. These blue circles are the new moon. Sometimes when you get this new moon, which can have like the energy of Saturn attached to it, at least during the last, say, 6 months, you can get tops. Even if you don't believe that, you got this new high in equities. They run all the stops and then they drop the market. Classic false breakout, suck everybody in, drop the market. Bonds. Okay. So stocks down, crypto down, bonds down, interest rates up, crypto down. So why is crypto dumping? If you stayed this long, this is why, right? This looks just like the bond market top in August of 2022, right? Stocks are down, but bonds are not rallying. Normally it's stocks down, bonds up, right? And there may be a resolution to the debt ceiling problem, but even if there's a relief rally in stocks and bonds, if that rally fails, you know a major crisis has started. You know it has. Either that or they really are going to default and you're going to have 5 or 6 of the most painful days you've seen in a long time. Okay. If you've got trading view, look at MOVE. This will be key for crypto. Like 3%, 2%, no one cares. MOVE is the VIX of bonds. Right now, it's at 130. If MOVE, again, the VIX, the volatility index for bonds, is above 150, that is not good for altcoins. The altcoins for the last cycle will probably not do as well as Bitcoin. Okay. Long-term interest rates headed for 5%. So this chart, to make a long story short, means an 8% mortgage rate. You could have a 5% 10-year note yield up from 370. The credibility of the U.S. government is going to come into play. That's going to cause interest rates to rise. It may cause the dollar to rise. And you're like, what? How is the dollar going to go up? Well, if people can't borrow the dollar because the government's crowding them out, to use the economics term, they may have to buy the dollar. So you've got this unbelievable counterintuitive mind thing going on where you're like, well, this is the dawn of crypto, right? Well, it is, but if everyone's long thinking that, they could get flushed out. It could be 25K in Bitcoin. It could be 22K. But you want to make sure you're there in July, okay? Watch out for higher oil prices. So not only do we have to borrow all the money in the world, but we also have to buy all the oil in the world because they've run the Strategic Petroleum Reserve down to nothing. So if oil goes up, that's not good for Bitcoin. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin and some downside targets. So there was the head and shoulders top, right? So an attempt to go up, an attempt to go up, an attempt to go up, 3 attempts to go up, boom, it falls apart. Okay, 25K is support. 22K is the ultimate objective if the pattern plays out. ETH is the same way. You know, you've gotten tops on the new moon, and yesterday on the 23rd of May, ETH hit the top of this neckline to the number. They squeezed everyone out in equities, then they squeezed everyone out in crypto, and then they dropped it. Okay, again, if the US government is going to have to suck all the money out of the financial system, that's not good for crypto in the beginning. Okay, now, if the United States goes into a 3-month crisis, right, that sort of starts on Memorial Day and ends on July 4th, or comes to a massive climax on July 4th, there is going to be an opportunity to hoover up crypto. I just don't think we're there right this second. Okay, for anybody in equities who may need to hedge, the smaller banks are going down. The question is what happens to bigger institutions like Schwab. I'm looking at 5160 in Schwab. Okay. I think what happens in bank stocks is very relevant to crypto traders. When all the bank stocks have crashed, that's the buy point for crypto. Now, Ethereum, every 90 days. All right. So we start with the FTX low. You move out 90 days, Ethereum topped. Then you move out another 90 days, and it looks like Ethereum is topping again. So this move here in Ethereum was maybe about 2 weeks. Okay. And you could have just two, you know, it wasn't a cataclysm here, but it did end in a very ugly fashion. Remember, when it comes to risk assets, the dog can bark, right? When stocks start losing money, bonds start losing money, right? Everyone goes, oh no, sell what's working. And what's been working? Crypto. That's how hedge funds work. If they start losing money in 1 or 2 markets, their risk management models tell them to sell or take profits in other areas. So that could mean altcoins, Ethereum, Bitcoin. Doesn't matter whether they want to sell or not. That's why the market is down today. Okay, now with the new moon, again in Bitcoin, the Memorial Day new moon back last year, okay, was like 10 days from, you know, a Celsius FTX style problem. Okay, I'm not advocating that necessarily for crypto, but do not underestimate what can happen in crypto if NASDAQ gets wrecked. Okay, you want to be down there for July 4th, and I'm going to tell you why, and here's why. The debt ceiling is an imaginary number. So when I went through the analysis of the debt crisis with Toby, we came up with 2 things. We came up with choices and illusions, meaning the people who are running the show are trying to scare you on purpose, right? Like the Republicans are, you know, they're holding the economy hostage, and the left is saying, you know, well, we're just trying to work for the people. Well, the fact of the matter is they could solve this tomorrow. They want to sow as much fear and dissent as possible. Now, that's going to backfire on them, right? Because the Bud Light Target thing could go nuclear in June. In other words, imagine a geopolitical event where we were all fighting each other in the streets. Now, the illusion is the debt ceiling itself. It's just some number Congress sets. So let me ask you this. If the debt ceiling is currently at 30-something trillion, and it's going to need to be at 160 trillion in 2050, once the United States fully gets exposed, where is Bitcoin going to be in August? Could you have six-figure Bitcoin if there's a financial crisis in the summer of 2023? In other words, could you have a V bottom? And who knows, maybe it's only 3 or 4% down. Maybe it's 25K. I don't think anybody's really going to care, okay? Except the thing that's tricky about V bottoms is that if you're in very speculative assets, you can get wrecked. You can get wrecked. You can get stopped out. And even if you say you won't, you will. You will get freaked out because, again, the black swan may not be the default. The black swan may be social disorder or something in the banking system. Okay. Now, this graph from Twitter is talking about essentially Bitcoin at 160K by December. Okay. Now, I came up with similar numbers. Okay. Just saying, you know, you have 17K in the banking system, 17 trillion in the banking system, and $56 trillion in the pension system. And even as the market is very, very thin, hodling has become very fashionable in Bitcoin. You're not buying the amount of Bitcoin that you may want to. You're going to have to buy MicroStrategy stock. So people actually come in and want Bitcoin, which they will when our system falls apart. So May 24th, why are stocks down? Why are bonds down? Why is crypto down? It's because a crisis is starting, and it's not necessarily the default, although it could be, right? But the default isn't a crisis itself. It starts one that probably lasts all the way out until July 4th, which is going to give you an opportunity to buy crypto, because if this is right, you're talking about 160K in December, right? Which means legacy gets nuked in June, July 4th, and probably October, November. I think October, November could be the darkest period that the United States has seen since World War II, right? In other words, I got real Gann and cycle analysis behind that, right? October, November. So, you know, crypto may start rallying in July or in August and may rally right through a legacy decouple. I don't think the decoupling is now. I think it's later. Okay, let's take a look. Let's go back and look at some of the news. Okay, potential debt deal seen worsening U.S. recession, job destruction. Everyone's focusing on the default. That's obviously bad. Okay, the banking system crisis would be a lot worse. Okay. Okay, politicians love the attention, right? Now, again, if welfare or social services payments do not get met, okay, you can have social disorder. Okay, moving into TA. So I guess this could be considered the 5 wave. This is BEN. You know, Toby's 2 for 2. She got Pepe. And then we talked about BEN when BEN was sitting on the 62% retracement, and everybody was so busy hating on BitBoy that they missed a huge rally to a new high. Okay. There's multiple different ways to look at markets. My way is very experimental. Right now we're 2 for 2 on markets. Let's go to crypto and look at Bitcoin. Now, what do you see on the DeMark chart of Bitcoin? Well, you don't see anything, okay? You don't see anything. Somebody is asking, would love to hear your thoughts on the narrative about the BRC20 tokens going into the halving. Okay, well, right now, Bitcoin isn't showing anything, and 9 down days is possible. Could also just turn around and go right back up again. I don't know. I think BRC20 tokens are going to slow down the Bitcoin network, and there's going to be sort of a negative story in the beginning about the fees involved. Okay. I think Litecoin is going to be a bigger answer, right? So I think the BRC20 token story is going to be a Litecoin narrative. Now, as usual, when Litecoin outperforms, the market gets wrecked. It usually takes a rally in Dash, Zcash, and Litecoin to absolutely wreck the market, and that's what's happened. You got the 9 top in Litecoin, and then it turned around and went down. Okay, when you look at ETH, okay, there's a lot of resistance in ETH at 1846. So this is not the head and shoulders. It's just the DeMark work, right? Now, in a realistic normal scenario, you would get 1650. Okay, if you look at something maybe a little bit more brutal, okay, 1369 is possible. This is the weekly chart of ETH. Okay, in other words, you got the 9 top here, and now this is potentially the 3rd of 9 down weeks. So wouldn't it be interesting? Let's do the fib math on this ETH chart. Let's just see where 1369 comes in. Okay, so 1369 might be a little extreme. That's the 76% retracement of the recent move. Let's try one more. Let's try one more retracement. Okay, now this is actually better. So this is the FTX low, right? And 1369 would be the 62% retracement of the move off the lows. Totally reasonable objective. In other words, in a crisis, the hardest thing to do is to be patient. The hardest thing to do, right? Like, I get it. $1 in Bitcoin is better than $1 in the bank. But the fact of the matter is, you know, it cannot break out, and it's subject to pressures coming from big legacy moves. Can you imagine being able to buy ETH at 1,300 or being able to buy Bitcoin at 22 only to see these things turn around and go vertical to the upside in August? Can you imagine? And if it doesn't happen in August, according to that graphic and some of our work, you know, it's going to happen in December. What's it? Well, A, a decoupling from legacy. B, Bitcoin's going to act like an altcoin. Remember, in the legacy world, Bitcoin is an altcoin. Bitcoin dominance could go to 72. Right now, it's at 50 something. Okay. Baby Whale wants Litecoin at 84. Like, if you look at the BRC20, if you look at these narratives, it's probably going to wind up at a lot higher than that, but not now. Right. That's the problem. People may be doing the right trade too early. Okay. AGIX. Absolutely love this group. Okay. MetaMet consensus. Unfortunately, this rally was like a 4-wave up, and it looks like there's going to be a 5-wave new low with like a 12 and a 13 bottom. So you could have 2 just really nasty, nasty days. Okay. Wrong again says CDS is up only. Aiken is here. Welcome. Timeless Podcast. Arik from Israel is here. Welcome. Okay. Thomas, John, Illuminatics, welcome. Joseph from Brazil. Bubba, checking in here. Now, FD has got a good question. Debt crisis resolution pump. Okay, good question, right? Pancakes and peanut butter also here. Now, if there is a pump, okay, you have to remember, just it's never been more important. Okay, let's just go to an intraday chart. Let's go to an intraday chart of ETH. Okay. So let's go to like a 90-minute chart. Okay. Right now, resistance is at 1803. All right. If you get a rally off resolution and ETH does not get above 1803, then it's going materially lower. Here's the rationale behind that. Okay. Why are people holding crypto? Because the government is stupid. Well, if the government doesn't default and then interest rates start to rise because they have to borrow so much money, right? If people are holding crypto because there's a government default, but there's no government default and interest rates rise, that's crypto negative, right? In other words, everyone thinks the debt ceiling is the crisis. Actually, it's not, right? Crypto may go down in the short term, which is why I'm trying to get you to zoom out. That's why we're doing the special break-in live stream. Okay. Like, the crisis is just starting. It's in the banking system. It's not just the government. So if there is a it's over pump and it gets sold, then you know you're going to get the pickup ETH at 1,500. Okay. All right. All I want for Christmas is Bill's channel always live. David, we are working hard to get live as often as we can. Okay, let's go through a series of altcoins using DeMark work and check out to see what we got. Okay, let's look at Cardano. Cardano is really looking good versus ETH. Okay, so let's go to a 4-hour chart. Really, the new quest, the holy grail, I think, is where is support? Or can you locate support? So, what is the most unpopular thing to say ever? Well, that you would get to buy Cardano at 20 cents. In other words, you're watching live crypto television. What are you watching it for? Well, because I'm going to say something that no one else is going to say. You may get to buy Cardano at 20 cents. And if you do, it'll look like the world is ending and you should grab it there. You should grab it there. In other words, is there anything on this weekly chart of Solana that would lead you to believe that Solana could puke to 7? I don't hate Solana. Matter of fact, Toby loves it. You know, when I tell her we may be able to get Solana at 10, she'd be like, oh, great. Set up the orders. Now, is that outside the box? Yes, it is. Should I be talking about that kind of carnage on just a 3% down day? Probably not. But if gold is going to get hot, right? Sometimes gold can get hot because everything else is getting hammered, right? Because stocks sure are getting hammered, right? I mean, if I just put up SPY, right, and we look at what, you know, the S&P ETF is doing, you know, even just on a daily chart, right? Okay. Okay. So here's the 4-hour chart of equities. This is S&P, right? I'm going to take out the sequential work. You had the low in March off Silicon Valley Bank. Wave 1 up, wave 2 down. Wave 3 up, wave 4 down. Okay, wave 5 up. Right here, every institutional investment bank that was bearish capitulated. And they had to turn their views around. I mean, it's really tough. Like when you're a trader, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm stopping out and I'm reversing. Okay, when you're an analyst and you write reports and you're over here and you're saying, wow, everything's all bearish in March, and the next thing you know, it's 15% higher in your face. They capitulate, and then this thing just crashes. Okay, this right here is not good for crypto. And even if equities do come back and crypto does come back, beware the failed rally. You see a failed rally in crypto and equities. Again, this is why we're doing the break-in live stream. If you see a failed rally in crypto, you're going to get to buy this stuff much cheaper. Okay, just pulling up Polkadot. Now, does anybody want to sell Polkadot at 5? Of course not. Of course not. Nobody wants to sell Polkadot. I don't even think anybody wants to sell Bitcoin. Okay, nobody wants to sell Bitcoin. The question is, what price can you get it at? Can you make them sell it to you at a good price? So this is Polkadot weekly, and you may wind up getting it at this support point at 480. Notice how all these DeMark indicators, they're kind of giving you these hints below the market. So if you started on Memorial Day in the US, which is in a couple of days, then you had, say, 3 down weeks in Polkadot, that would give you a nice 9 bottom right on top of support. Right on top of support. I mean, in altcoins, in many ways, they're coming right to you. And it's the same thing in, I don't know, let's pull it up for Litecoin to see if there's any like close support points on Litecoin. I mean, really the only close support point in Litecoin, at least on the daily chart, is the low. Let's see if there's anything on the 4-hour chart. So again, you know, I'm trying to find something good. And here's Litecoin at 86, right? You know, if Litecoin's above 86, it's good, right? But if it keeps failing here, right, that's where you get to buy this at lower prices. Okay. All right. So Arik is saying BTC has a target of 22,700. I agree. Okay, wrong again. What does a decoupling look like to you? Okay, this is a great question. So here's what the decoupling looks like to me, right? I'm actually going to put the bond chart up. I'm going to do the bond chart. So this is long bond futures. And then I'm going to add to it on the fly. Okay. So right now, this is bonds, right? And as you can see, right, bonds down, Bitcoin down. Okay. Bonds in a range, bonds stable, Bitcoin up. Okay. If you see bonds go down and Bitcoin go with it, eventually Bitcoin's going to turn around and go like this. Okay. Bitcoin will go down, bonds will go down. And then the decoupling is bonds will continue to go down and stocks with it. In other words, legacy will crumble. It'll crumble, right? In other words, if you look at bonds, right, if you take out the Bitcoin, can you imagine if this happens to the bond market again? Now, that's obviously going to probably create a flat environment for Bitcoin like it did here. But if you get this like slumping move lower in Bitcoin, and then bonds continue to go down, stocks continue to go down, eventually somebody said Bitcoin and crypto are the only assets. Now, my argument, and this is what I've been talking about with Sell in May, you know, anybody who's been watching me on Debate Crypto, it's like, hey, sometimes these things drop vertically, and then it gives you the opportunity to grab them. Okay. So wrong again was asking about a Solana bottom. Okay. I was looking at the DeMark work for something more extreme. Let's look at something less extreme using hidden pivot analysis. Okay. Let's maybe go to like a 4-hour Solana chart. So this is Solana 4 hours, right? Now, cohort likes the idea of this. You know, it's funny how they like the BRC20 tokens. You know, you may get to buy things like Cardano, Solana. You know, you may be able to get these things at very, very economical prices. So let's try this. Okay. So I would say if Solana cannot get above 1935, I mean, if it does, then it's fine, right? But if it can't, you might be able to pick up Solana at 1722. While I'm at it, I like this whole idea about a possible, like, you know, flash crash-ish in June. I don't know that any hedge fund that's made money in crypto, like, just think about it, right? You're an institution, you walk into work all day, your job is to buy and sell for a living. You know, you take vacation. It's not like a 24-hour crypto trader at his desk with Mountain Dew and Cheetos, right? You come in, you need to make money. And then when you've made money, especially in New York and London, you head for the country. I put something on my Twitter that Sell in May and Go Away comes from like stock market statistics, but it was invented in London for bankers who would make money and then head for the countryside in May. Sell in May and Go Away, right? You made money. People who made money like, wow, you know, I bought Bitcoin at 18K and now it's at 27. You know, I think I'm just going to take my money and leave. That's what happens. And that's what's going on in stocks too. So, you know, your Solana point may wind up being, you know, 1722 Avalanche. Okay. So Avalanche down 4% today. Finding a bottom in Avalanche. Okay. You know, as you can see, some of these altcoins, you know, they've been almost like, it's funny. They've been kind of like down only. quietly, right? It's been a quiet decline. Okay. So here's maybe what I could say about Avalanche. Looks like the most recent decline started up here on May 7th. Okay. There's resistance in Avalanche. This is a 4-hour chart. Okay. Resistance is here at 1423. Okay. And yes, somebody is out there reminding you to hit the like button. So let's hit the like button, and not only hit the like button on this, but get over to Twitter, because if you want to see how we're doing the news these days, where I got the idea for Elon's Twitter coin, because I think that's what turns the market in July or August. Now, it's right as the U.S. government goes ablaze, or right as our banking system goes ablaze, Elon comes out with Elon money. And that is ignition for the system. Okay, 1423 in Avalanche is one number. You know, if you want to leave bids below, it's 1310. I'm guessing if that happens, it just kind of happens. You know, like we just do this like 2 or 3 day or 2 to 3 week heave. Okay. So Aiken is asking, does all things related to gold and gold products, including jewelry, electronics, also rise with physical gold prices? Okay. I'm not sure about the electronics. Okay. Let's take a moment to talk about gold. All right. Now, one of the things that's really interesting about gold, and I had Toby look at it because, you know, it was, you know, very much in the news today. It's interesting. The dollar is higher. So the dollar has been up only, right? And this is because people are afraid they can't borrow it. So they have to buy it. Now that sucks, because people who are shorted are going to get killed. This is one of my major concerns for crypto. Now, back to gold. So the good news for gold is that, you know, gold is holding the bottom of like a regression channel. Okay. Or a parallel channel, excuse me. So these are parallel lines drawn this way. Let's see if I get anything. This is like totally on the fly style analysis. If I get anything by putting a regression line in on gold. Okay. Okay. So let's try this. Okay. So this is a linear regression line for gold of the last, say, 100 days. This means gold could drop to 1921. Okay, let's put a fib number on this. Okay. This is the type of a situation where I can see gold leading Bitcoin. So the 38% retracement of the entire rally off the FTX low is roughly 1921. So somewhere around 1900, there's really good support in gold. Okay. If you look at just a short part of the rally, the 38% retracement is actually 1948. The point is, you know, this is the area to grab gold for a crisis. Okay. What do I think of Jupiter coin on Coinbase? Okay. Well, I'm not familiar with that. Okay. Now, when it comes to altcoins, I always kind of worry about these like double super spikes, right? Like, I don't know if this counts as a spike because it's a release on Coinbase, but I don't know. With small altcoins that are unknown, you know, I'm a little leery of this spike on the way up. I don't like double spikes on new coins. I like up and sideways, like what you got with Pepe and BEN. Okay, yes, I do think Platinum is a good alternative. So if we go to Platinum, right? Okay. So let's pull this in. This is Platinum. This is a weekly chart. Okay. Now, I don't exactly know if that's the best draw in the world, but clearly Platinum on a weekly chart feels like a diamond. I mean, this has been consolidating like this for 6 years. 6 years. It's hard to see a precious metal like this breaking out of the downside. Okay, let's check OVR. Okay, doing a 4-hour chart. Okay, so if you have objects in motion, right? All objects in motion like this, you want to see them hold the 62% retracement on the way down. This worked with BEN. Okay. I think it also worked with Pepe in the beginning. Okay. I'm not even sure Pepe got down to a 62% retracement. But if you get 48 cents acting as support, this is fine. Right? It's the thing you got to watch out for, again, is something like Total 3. You know, as a lot of guys that I've been doing shows with are talking about this. You know, if you look at Total 3 in this range, right, it's just a simple parallel box, right? And a visit to the bottom end of this box, if you have something freakishly scary. Now, I thought the freakishly scary thing was, you know, I know it's going to be later in Legacy, but I thought, I didn't think it would happen this quick to crypto. And I busted out with this live stream because it might be. It might be, right? In other words, I'm like, well, wait a minute. You know, if this gets wrecked, it's going to be the altcoins that gets wrecked, right? Because if you go up here and look at this, I'm going to get to NEAR next, right? Stocks are still falling. Stocks are lower than when we started the show, okay? And bonds, okay, are not rallying. Bonds are still down, okay? Interest rates are up and rates are up, which is probably why it's so toxic for crypto. Okay, let's take a look at NEAR. Now, I'm definitely going to do an Ask Toby when it comes to some of these layer 1 protocols. Toby is talking a lot. We talk a lot about new infrastructure in the market, building something totally new. Now, when you have NEAR, you have a daily chart. The DeMark count is starting to go towards the downside, right? In other words, you know, when this upside count, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So, you know, you could have 5 to 6 more down days in NEAR. If you look at a weekly chart, I guess the great news for NEAR, okay, is that even though this weekly chart doesn't look great, there's really solid support at $1.54. So this may be the first thing that I've looked at all day where I'm like, you know, like this whole move below $1.54 in NEAR was BS. So if on a weekly closing basis, NEAR is at $1.54, maybe you can hold on. Maybe you can hold on. Okay. Better shot. Appreciate you tuning in. Okay. I don't know if I have uranium. That's a good way of checking geopolitical events. Okay, so not getting much there. I have to come back to you on uranium. Okay, Jasmy, AI coins. Let's take a look at Jasmy to see where that is. Maybe we can look at an intraday chart. Okay, I have got my eye on this artificial intelligence sector, the first group in equities that start to go public, or the first publicly related sale of anything related to AI in the stock market or any funding round. Okay, so, Jasmy is down only, sort of really difficult to figure out where that could go and be reasonable about it. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so if you want to be non-apocalyptic, 0.0038. Okay, that's a level in Jasmy. Again, this stream is about telling you a larger financial crisis has started. Okay, gold is going to get hot. The only question is, when do you get it? And crypto is going to get hot, and in July and let it fly. I've got more confidence in that. However, you cannot underestimate the debt crisis for the United States between Memorial Day and July 4th, right? This is sell in May and go away. Everyone was talking about it. I said do it at Memorial Day, and here we are. Okay, here we are. Okay, Galaxy Digital. All right, so it's probably a good idea to take a look at both Galaxy and Microstrategy, especially coming off Bitcoin Miami. Now, I really wanted this to be a head and shoulders bottom in Galaxy. I'm starting to wonder, because you really didn't get any upside follow through. I'm wondering maybe it's something like something oval. Okay, like teacup and handle. Okay. So you've got a decent looking teacup. What you don't have is a handle. And what are handles? Well, they're usually really crappy, choppy ranges, right? Which is very, very possible. So this is Galaxy, and it makes sense, right? The dawn of crypto is here, except you might have to sit out a choppy, crappy range for, say, a month, right? And the DCA zone is probably here when it fills this gap at 450, right? It's the same thing with MicroStrategy. I mean, MicroStrategy really isn't even down that much, right? It isn't, right? So this is like, I don't know, we can go to some higher time frame here, like 3 days. Okay. I don't think we got a head and shoulders bottom in this. Hey, but what you may have is just like you did, say, in Platinum. I don't know. I'm wondering if it's some kind of like diamond formation. Diamond formations are not always easy to see. Okay. But this just looks like a giant diamond. Right. And is MicroStrategy going to break down this way? Not, probably not, man. You probably get a $30, $40 decline. Maybe it comes down into here where this gap was. But look, the only way to buy tons of Bitcoin is going to be to take over MicroStrategy. Literally, is to take it over. Take it over. All right. Iron Alien is here watching on a delay. Welcome. Okay. Bart is here liking the show. I appreciate that. Okay. Let's take a look at Pepe. Okay. It's really interesting question. Will meme coins become money? Okay. So Pepe is holding the 62% retracement around 1842. And I'm going to tell you something really funny. Notice kind of how Legacy is melting down, but Pepe isn't. Isn't that interesting? Right? Pepe is just sitting here. Now, the 62% retracement of the entire rally is at 1507. I think there's a huge consensus that because of the meme coin mania that marked the top in crypto. Seems reasonable. But you know what? If Pepe continues to go sideways like BEN coin did, and it can get back above the 62% retracement, Pepe may actually wind up benefiting. Because if you said, would I want Pepe or a US 10-year note bond? I would say Pepe. Because if Pepe blows up, we won't be surprised. But if the 10-year note blew up and you think that's risk-free, that is a surprise. That is a surprise. Okay. I want to look at one more thing in crypto. Okay. I know my colleague, Mind Your Biz, has been looking a lot at Monero. Okay. In other words, if a financial crisis is about to befall us, will privacy wake up? Now, I'm not seeing anything on the DeMark work on Monero, but I'm checking, and I'm going to check that and the heartbreaker Zcash. Okay, so Monero on a weekly chart, the best support is 138. Okay, on the daily chart, it's 145. If they nationalize the banking system, privacy could become an issue. I mean, one thing that I think is just like, I don't know, it's incredible, is that Zcash is actually almost making a new low. So as a painful reminder about how wrong I was on this, you had a 13 bottom, and then it continues to go straight down. Now, that said, okay, you've got the 2020 low at 25. I mean, you're buying privacy where it was in 2020. So maybe they can't scale it, but, you know, I talked about it for a year and had to shut up about it because I was early. Then I saw my colleague, Mind Your Biz, you know, he's just posting regular updates on Monero. All right. So we have a comment on Pepe here. Here we go. Bill, no, stop fueling that. Pepe has no worth at all. There are actually serious projects, and Pepe, BEM, and meme coins are just the dark side of crypto. It's what's wrong with crypto. Okay. You know what? Wild speculation is going to be the thing that revives Gensler and gives the SEC one last punch, right? Everyone says they're okay with meme coins because if they say they're not, they're labeled an enemy of crypto. The issue with meme coins, right? And I want to go back to the chart that no one wants to look at. The question at meme coins is total 3, right? This is all altcoins in general. Okay. And I'm going to put up here bonds. Okay, actually, if I can put interest rates up. Okay. So this is total 3. Okay. Interest rates up, meme coins, altcoins down. So yes, meme coins, Pepe, they could get wrecked because again, money is going to start flowing away from highly speculative assets. I get that people really hate these things, but don't discount the cryptoverse's ability to innovate when legacy disintegrates. In other words, you don't want to err on the side of speculation. You want to err on the side of innovation. Okay. Language trainer, like when do you leave the chopper? Okay. I'm guessing there's got to be an opportunity in July. And if it's not an opportunity in July, it's an opportunity in November, right? In other words, if you look here on my Twitter, the origin of sell in May and go away was from London. Okay. And then the stock market history suggests that investors should sell in May and hold cash until November when they can buy stocks again. Because the first half of the year, stocks usually do better than they do in the second half. I just think stocks are so toppy, right, that if stocks get wrecked and they take crypto down with it, eventually there will be a decoupling. Today is not that day, okay, because all the money in the system is flooding out to the governments, okay? Mindrest wants crypto to be taken seriously, okay, right? He wants Cardano, AGIX, and ETH, okay? Now, he's got that while he had to watch meme coins. So this is a great point, and it's about psychology, okay? So everyone's like, oh, well, trading is so easy, and it's easy to be in crypto. No, it's not actually. It's not. So let's think about it. If you believed in crypto or gold, you had to sit around and watch meme coins go up. Your coins didn't rally. If anything, they clogged up the networks. So meme coin people walked away. Regulators got upset. And now your crypto is going lower. And you never got any upside gratification. Then you're going to get scared out by equities, right? Right when you should be buying crypto, people may be panic selling it. How hard is this? Like, this is hard, right? In other words, people who bought real estate in 2008, they did really well. I mean, for some people, for Toby, she's like, yeah, man, you just do the opposite of what everyone's doing. She had friends and people who knew people were walking away from luxury houses just because, not because they couldn't pay for them, just because, they bought them and they never thought that the prices would go back up. They literally just walked away and gave the houses back to the bank. They got frustrated. Then the next thing you know, it's a 15-year rally to a wild new high where the Fed had to tighten 500 basis points in a year to stop it. The same thing could happen in crypto. The same thing could happen in crypto. Okay? Memes, I like this. Memes are the beginning of layer 2s on Bitcoin. You know, folks, that's another point about meme coins that maybe people aren't getting. Okay. Vitalik said this: in order to have innovation, you need a bubble. Did the whole stream in 480. In order to have innovation, you need a bubble. You need the bubble to bring the flood of money in. So let's review. Stocks can continue lower. Bonds can continue lower. A resolution of the debt crisis will probably create a rally. If that rally fails, then you know the next group of things to fail are banks, right? The government debt crisis, the government debt ceiling crisis isn't the crisis. It starts a crisis for America that may wind up lasting the entire summer. Sell in May and go away is in effect. You want to have money ready for July because the decoupling could come sooner than you think. So I'm Bill Noble. We'll see you next time.